What is going on, Browns fans? Welcome back to the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. I am your host, Justin Harold, and today we're going to be talking to you guys a little bit about some of the Browns coaching changes over the last few weeks. Now, obviously, we did have some firings earlier on, almost immediately after the loss to the Texans in the postseason, the first round of that wild card. Alex Van Pelt, mainly one of them with the OC name, and then Stump Mitchell, the running back game coordinator, along with the defensive line coach, and I believe one other offensive coach that I don't remember off the top of my head. Since then, though, we have had three different hirings. I'm going to go in order of not really importance, but I'm just going to go defense to offense first. And specifically, I'm going to start with that defensive line hiring. And again, forgive me if I butcher the name, but this is an interesting one. I believe it is Jaquaz Caesar. He was the D line coach in Buffalo in 2020. I'll get to that in a minute why that's significant. And then hired as the defensive line coach in Houston in 2022 under Lovie Smith. Then, when Lovie Smith was fired, he was retained to be the D line coach again, which I think he did I think you can tell it in the playoff game. His team did a very good job of disrupting the quarterback, stopping the run game, and just kind of being all over the place. So I think that's one of those things where more so than anything, you were kind of disappointed with the lack of production that you were getting out of guys like Zadarius Smith and Ogbo. Last season, I thought those two would be much closer to eight, or not both of them, but at least one of them would be much closer to 8 sacks. I believe Zadarius finished around 5 or 6 total sacks this year. So I think just that hiring in general is kind of that, hey, we need a little bit more production coming from our defensive line group, not just Miles. So that's great. I like it. Obviously, some success there for the Texans. Then we're going to move on to the offense and going right into the running back game with Duce Staley, former player turned coach, was an assistant head coach and running backs coach for the Lions last year. So not this year with the super talented backfield that they have, but last year's backfield that was also super talented with DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, who scored a plethora of touchdowns. So I think that's going to be a huge mark there. Again, another reason why I think that happens is because obviously Nick goes down. You don't get the same or even near close the same production that you get from him between two running backs. And so I think that was one of the issues. Another issue that we heard was that he leaks a lot of information, Stump Mitchell. Whether that's true or not, I don't think that's been confirmed or not, but could be a reason that he was on the outs. And so, and again, that Panthers season, he was hired, and Frank Reich, I think they were hired by one of the worst franchises that you could be right now. But that being said, I digress. Moving on to the next one, and easily the most important of the three for me, the offensive coordinator position being filled by Ken Dorsey. Just a little bit about Ken. He was a former player for the Browns, a former player turned coach again. He coached Cam Newton for 5 seasons, one of which was that MVP season that had gotten them all the way to the Super Bowl. And he had also coached Josh Allen in his first 4 seasons. And what were some of the most productive seasons and stellar seasons by a quarterback for Josh Allen. And yet he was let go this season for having the rough start that they had and not being able to get the job done early. So going back really quickly, though, I do find it a little interesting that Kevin's kind of gone and again picked guys that have worked together in some capacity. I know that defensive line coach and quarterbacks coach are you would think a little bit far apart, but really in practices, depending on how the defensive line is going about tapping up the quarterback, you might have a couple of conversations between those coaches. So just a little interesting tidbit between Dorsey and Caesar there. But yeah, so obviously Alex Van Pelt for me was a guy who, I'm just going to be totally honest. I really couldn't tell his impact on the team. I really couldn't tell his, him being the OC really had no bearing on what was going on in the game and what was, being done with the quarterback. I'm just being honest. I don't think I've seen him work with a quarterback and really seen drastic changes from season to season. But that being said, I think this Ken Dorsey move is a good one. I think obviously it puts all bets on Watson into a more pass heavy offense. Obviously, we've seen it with Josh Allen, and we've seen those designed runs with Josh Allen, which is going to be an interesting thing for me because we all know that Josh Allen can run the football. He's a big, stocky dude. And we know that Deshaun Watson can run the ball, and he's a big, stocky dude. But unfortunately, injuries do happen, and it'll be interesting to see how the offense changes for the better with these two new hires, and especially seeing hopefully some more production coming out of that defensive line with the new hire. But yeah, everyone, thank you so much for sticking with us. If you guys have any more information on any of these coaches that you guys want to, leave in the comments, please do so. Love to hear all of it from you guys. And please do make sure you are liking and subscribing, hitting the bell notifications for more Browns, Cavs, and other sports topics being covered here at the Pulse. But that all being said, thank you all, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.